Sneakers and Cleats, the podcast. Welcome back to the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. This is Friday, December 1st. Finally made it to the last month. This year really flew by, 2023.
Careful, you're going to end up on Jimmy Kimmel.
Am I?
Yeah, because he does that whole thing where it's like, people are surprised that it's the new month, but it's like, well, that's how the calendar works,
God, you're right. It's already December 1st. This is our 55th episode. This is our first episode of being live. So look at that. Live on YouTube for OAI, KABB. We did our first remote podcast on Wednesday, and now we're doing our first live podcast today. We're really taking this in the right direction.
Nice, dude.
Look at that. Look at that. We got more people in the studio than we've ever had. We have Bob in here now, so that's nice. Say hi, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Bob. He's a Browns fan. We don't want to hear from him that much. So let's go to, this is our normal Friday episode. It's lucky, actually, that the Cowboys played last night, so we have a lot of stuff to talk about. Spurs played last night again. Don't really want to talk about them, but we will. And then we have some interesting CFP playoffs stuff to get into as well. But first, as always, let's start with the number game. Today is 55. So a lot of good linebacker numbers, as always, that there is in the 50s. Mm-hmm. Terrell Suggs, T-Sizzle, probably the best one that I could see, that I could think of.
Of recent memory, sure.
For
yeah,
sure.
I think he comes up. Me being a baseball guy, I saw you had listed down here the Bulldog, Oral Hershiser. So he comes to mind for me. I'm trying to think of any others of, basketball. There should be a 55 in there somewhere too.
Dikembe Mutombo?
Yeah. No.
No. Lance Briggs is a good one. Since we did Urlacher on Wednesday, 54. Lance Briggs, the other guy in that second edition of the Monsters of the Midway down there.
That's a good one.
I think he was on that. He helped them get to that Super Bowl with Rex Grossman that they lost to Peyton in the Colts. Mm-hmm. I think in 07, I think.
Yeah, 05, 06, 07,
somewhere in there. And then I had to put it on there, Junior Seau. Junior Seau, one of the best, RIP to him, one of the best linebackers ever probably in his Chargers, and then ended up, I think, winning a Super Bowl with the Patriots. No. Did he lose that Patriots Super Bowl in 07, I think?
I don't remember. I just recall him in the old navy blue Chargers uniform. Those were great.
They brought those back on Sunday night.
But it was kind of color rush. The pants were a little much.
Yeah, the pants, they used to wear either the white pants or yellow pants. Yeah. And this one was like all navy blue.
That was too much.
It didn't help their offense or their defense either. So they should just keep going with the powder blues. At least they lose in style.
There you go.
So let's get to the rundown. Obviously, let's start with Cowboys. So Cowboys won 41-35 last night. It was off script as to what night games usually are. Night games this year, at least, have been just like defensive battles, all going under the point total. This one went over the point total, I think, for the game in the first half.
Al Michaels had to be pleased.
Yeah,
he actually had something exciting to call.
Yeah, people have been roasting Al Michaels all year, and finally, people were giving him kind of some credit last night because there were just so many flags, and he was just calling out all the officials all night. So they won by 6. It was not a pretty game.
No.
Especially watching because of the flags. I think there was 19 total accepted penalties last night.
Flag fest.
Yeah, they were rivaling the record for most penalty yardage in a game last night, and it was a drag. But as far as the major takeaways, I've been saying for weeks that the Cowboys, I'm not learning anything new every week because they've just been playing bad teams and they've been killing bad teams like they should. I feel like last night it was the first time this season that the defense has played badly and the offense has picked them up considerably. Like I said earlier on this year on the podcast that like the Cowboys are a team that their defense can't have a bad day because the offense wasn't good enough. That's not true anymore. The Cowboys offense might be the best in the league.
Just look at the point totals they've been putting up over the past month. I mean, Dak and the offense are clicking. The Dak and CD connection is just, all world right now.
Yeah,
so
appreciate that on my fantasy teams.
Yeah, I'm with you. It was a weird game. I mean, the graphic said last night, like 232 yards, no punts. Like when has that ever happened?
Fifth game in NFL history with no punts. First game since 2021, the Eagles versus Kansas City Chiefs.
So there you go. It's a weird game, and I hear you. Yeah, they haven't played anybody. Of course, everybody's expecting, the Cowboys are at home. They're going to blow the doors off them. Well, Seattle's a team that is on the cusp of being a playoff team. They're in the mix. I think they will make the playoffs at some point. Now they've got a really tough stretch coming up where they're facing like the 49ers again, I think, and then also the Eagles or something. They've got
the Cowboys don't play the Niners.
No. I'm talking about the Seahawks.
Oh yeah.
I mean they're getting a visit from Philly here soon, so it's like you're going to be facing. You could be staring down the barrel of a 5-game losing streak for Seattle.
The Seahawks are screwed.
So anyway, but that aside, I mean of course everybody's expecting a blow off. It didn't happen, but I think the big takeaway for me, at least, is you know what, the offense and defense made the plays they needed to. The play to end the game where Micah Parsons just got a free run, that was probably the most puzzling. I know it was the play that they called, and it was designed to do that, but it's just like, man, when Micah Parsons lines up on that side where it's like, yeah, we're going to let that guy go, well, good luck.
I don't really understand how you call that in that situation. Like, you're just going to give a top 3 defender in the league a free run at the quarterback?
Sure.
Like, you want a one-on-one matchup, I get it. But
yeah.
I would run something else.
But who's to say that Micah Parsons maybe wasn't supposed to line up on the other side of the formation on that play with the defense that they call or something like that? It just so happens he was on that side where it's like, hey, we got to let that guy go because that's the play design. Wacky game, but look, this team is tired. 3 games in 12 days. You went 3-0 during that stretch. The Cowboys did what they needed to do. And I know it's like, yeah, they haven't played a team above 500. Well, they did last night. They got the win. Now, during these next 4 games, we're really going to find out if Dak and the Cowboys are for real.
Yeah, I don't know how the stat goes, like, because they played a team with a winning record and they beat a team that had a winning record. Now the team doesn't have a winning record anymore, so I don't know how that goes with the statistic and all that stuff. But as far as the Seahawks schedule, just to put a bow on that, you're right. They do play. They're at the Niners, then they're home to the Eagles, then they have Titans, Steelers, Cardinals. So they have a tough next 2 games.
Yeah.
And hopefully can win the next 3. I mean, if you're a Seahawks fan, even though the Steelers have a really good record as well. But.
And going back to that 500 team point, where you play a good team, right? Well, Pete Carroll, I heard a stat today where it's like Pete Carroll, when his team scores 35 points or more, they're like 16-0 or something.
36-0.
36-0. What? I beg your pardon. So it's like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty good when you can do that against a Pete Carroll coach team.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, it was the most impressive showing offensively that I've seen from the Cowboys all year. They didn't punt at all. Neither team did. They scored on every possession in the first half. I think they scored on every possession except for 1 in the second half. They went for 4th. They went on 4th down early in the 4th quarter. It was around the
4-minute mark,
yeah.
and that's where
the momentum seemed to be.
It did, and you give Dak a short field. Of course, you still got to go down, drive the ball down and score, which they did. But of course, a lot of people, hindsight now, are going, well, why don't you make him go 90, 87 yards and make him drive the full field or something? I mean, you can second guess it, 10 ways to Sunday, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting call from McCarthy. My main takeaways were that the Cowboys look better and that I fully expect them to win next week. I fully expect them to beat Philly next week. Coming off 10 days rest, Philly it's going to be their 5th game out of 5 that they're playing one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah. But they've been winning too.
And they've been winning a lot of games. They're going to show a lot this weekend when they play the Niners. That should have been a Sunday night.
That's going to be saucy.
That should have been a Sunday night football game. I don't know why that's in the afternoon, but
still get a lot of eyeballs on it.
Oh, for sure. It's the game of the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, I fully expect the Niners to win that game. I think the Eagles lose their next 2.
And if that's the case, then the Cowboys are first place.
Yeah, but the Eagles have a really easy record.
Sure, down the stretch, yeah.
But anyway, so I fully expect the Cowboys to win next week because of how good this team is and how well they play at home. They're almost unbeatable at home.
Yeah.
But I was really, really unimpressed with the defense last night. I mean, they've obviously showed their playmaking ability all year. We were just talking before we started recording here and hopped on live. By the way, if anyone has comments, questions, or anything like that, send them into the chat. Our maestro over there, Bob, will open up his mic and read them out to us, and so we can answer viewer questions live. So that being said, Deron Bland was when targeted in the first half. Seattle was 6 for 7, 136 yards, and I think a touchdown or 2 touchdowns in the first half. It was a really, really ugly game for Deron Bland, and I think he's probably happy, and the Cowboys are probably happy that the November Defensive Player of the Month award was awarded not including this game because he probably wouldn't have gotten it if it was.
Well, when you set an NFL record, I think that kind of goes without. But yeah.
Well, and he got another pick last night in the second half.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he responded, and that's what you want. Jerry Jones after the game was just like, look, yeah, you're going to face adversity, and I'm proud of him he had a bad game, but you know what? He still made plays when we needed him to, and he did. Welcome to life in the NFL. I mean, sure, everybody's saying he's stepped up for Trayvon Diggs, and he has, but, keep in mind, too, this guy's a fifth-round pick. He's got great ball skills. I don't know how many interceptions he's up to now. He had 5, in his...
He's up to 8 now this year.
Okay, and 8 this year, so 13 altogether now between his first 2 seasons?
Something like that. He could have had another one last night, too.
Yeah,
it's a
he
good
did.
thing he didn't pick it off because it kind of, I think it was their second to last possession, the Seahawks. Mm-hmm. It was probably a good thing they didn't pick it off because it gave them more field position. It was on 4th down, so they turned it over on downs anyway. Right. But he dropped that 4th down pick. That could have been his 9th interception of the
But even the guys in the Hall of Fame who played cornerback, they got burned a couple times too, right? You're not going to lock down every guy as much as people want you to think that you are and going to do that. And look, I think also too the psychology of it, Seattle's coming in there, kind of backs up against the wall a little bit. They need that win to kind of stay in their division race. It didn't happen, so they were going to kind of pull out all the stops, I think, a little bit. And going up against DK Metcalf, I mean, shoot, the guy can still do it.
Yeah. I think we'll have plenty of time to kind of prognosticate next week and talk about the Cowboys' remaining schedule, just pulling it up real quick. I mean, they have a murderer's row coming up as well. I mean, they have the Eagles next week at home on Sunday Night Football, and then they're at the Bills, they're at the Dolphins, they're home to the Lions. That's 3 teams that are in playoff consideration or at the top of their division right there. And then you have the Commanders to close out the game or close out the year. So we'll have plenty of time to talk about that. What I did want to talk about today, though, is it wild to say that Dak Prescott should be an MVP favorite right now?
Favorite, I don't know. In the mix of being a candidate, I don't think it's crazy at all. The way he's played the past month and a half, he's for sure a candidate. Now, again, you just mentioned the schedule. What he does over these next 4 games is going to go a long way into whether he is a legit candidate or not. I mean, if Philadelphia ends up winning the NFC East and getting that top seed, how can you not give him the MVP?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's Jalen Hurts is first, Patrick Mahomes is second, and then Dak is third in terms of the odds to win MVP. These next 2 weeks might flip those. I think Dak in 2 weeks could be the favorite to win the award just because I expect the Eagles to lose this weekend and I expect them to lose against the Cowboys in Jerry World. So, I mean, you could legitimately see Dak Prescott be the favorite for MVP with 3 games remaining on the schedule. And that's not abnormal. That's not like outlandish to say. Mm-hmm. This is the best I've ever seen Dak play. Besides this, it was probably his rookie season that it was the best football of his career,
or that season before he broke his ankle.
Yeah, maybe.
But
he is in a zone right now. He and CD are in lockstep. They've completely dismissed using Michael Gallup now, which is probably a good thing because hasn't made plays all year. They've almost taken him off the field completely and have gone to Jalen Tolbert and Kevontae Turpin and all the rest of the guys. And Brandon Cooks is now showing up pretty big.
Brandon Cooks, Jake Ferguson.
Yeah, Jake Ferguson. Getting into it a lot with Jamal Adams last night.
I like the way he plays, and Jerry Jones even too after the game was like quick to point him out. The first thing he said was 87. Oh, I really like It's just kind of like wow.
Wait, what was that Jerry impression you did?
That's all I got. I can't do any more.
But I liked what Dak said after the game, and I'm going to paraphrase, and he said, you guys can keep talking. I have the pen. I have the paper. I'm the one writing the script here. It was a hell of a line.
Didn't you feel like he had that one ready?
Oh,
that one was in the holster, ready to go.
Oh, yeah. He prepared that weeks in advance just to be able to answer that one question.
He was crafting that one.
Yeah, no one comes up with that off the top of their head. No one.
Dak can, I think. I mean, Dak's a smart guy. He likes to have fun. I mean, I was cracking up listening to because they go around the room, right? And they're okay, you, and okay, this affiliate, you ask the question next, and okay, next question, and they go to one guy. Well, 2 questions, and the whole room just busts out laughing. They were having fun last night.
Well, the guys in that room, Clarence and Todd Archer and all those guys, they've been doing it for so long.
Oh,
so
yeah. They know those guys.
They know them so well. I mean, it's every single press conference McCarthy has. He's like, Clarence?
Yeah. That's a lot of fun.
But anyway, it was a really impressive win last night, I thought. I'm really underwhelmed by the defense, but like I said, we'll end up finding out exactly who the Cowboys are over the next 4 games.
Yeah.
If they're going to get home field, if they're going to win a lot of games, and if they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the playoffs. If they keep playing, if the offense keeps clicking the way they are right now, I don't see anyone they can't beat.
No, I agree with you. I mean, again, we kind of both said it now. These next 4 games, we find out if Dak's for real and can really get in that MVP. If you sweep that slate or you go 3-1, I think he's the front runner.
They've got to beat someone big on the road, is what they've got to do.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to beat whether it's the Lions, whether it's the Dolphins, whether it's the Bills. They've got to win one of those games on the road, so we can. Sorry, this thing's going on. So I have a small attention span. So we can really say like they're a legitimate contender. They have to win one of those games.
Yeah.
Let's get to the Spurs. So the Spurs lose again, 13 in a row now.
Hold on. Got a question for you.
Oh, here we go. Open Bob's mic up. Viewer question.
Raul Vela Jr. Wants to know, I'm a huge Cowboys fan, but I don't think Dak is a candidate for MVP yet. These next couple of games will define where we stand.
Yeah, I mean, I
Okay,
think
maybe not a question, but a comment.
But no, I think we completely agree. And thank you for sending in the responses. The next 4 games will define the season for the Cowboys. You have the murderer's row of the Bills, the Dolphins, the Lions, the Eagles to start it all out with. The next 4 games will define exactly where they are in the playoffs, how good they are, and we'll have a whole better scope, especially if they beat the Dolphins in Miami.
Yeah.
Like,
I think we're in agreement with Raul. It's maybe not there's been a lot of attention, national attention that Dak's been getting. I'm sure some people are still on the fence, which is hard to believe the way Dak's been playing over this past month and a half. But, I think too, he is really confident right now, and just the way that he and Mike McCarthy are kind of coupling together. Just the play calling and the belief in the calls and everything and how stuff is set up and everything. I mean, there was a play where Dak threw to CD in the end zone. It was triple coverage.
And it hit him in the hands.
Yeah. Well, but he was asked about that, and, he's just like, yeah, no, I'm still confident to make that throw. That is the kind of level of belief where it's just like, yeah, if you're that confident throwing into triple coverage that your guy's going to come down with the ball, that's what you want going into that confidence level going into these next 4 games.
The crazy thing is that thing got through triple coverage
and
hit CD in the hands, and CD will tell you he
think,
should have caught that ball.
Sure, yeah. It looks, I mean, when you watch it, it's like, ooh, sketchy throw. But when you go back and say, hey,
thread the needle, man.
Yeah.
Bob, any other questions before we move on to Spurs? Sweet. All right, let's get on to the Spurs. So they lose their 13th in a row. It's their worst start since 1996 when, ironically, Greg Popovich came down from the booth and fired the head coach and made himself the head coach. So that's something. You can take from that what you will. But at this point, you're 3-15. You haven't won a game since that really impressive 2-game stretch in Phoenix to start off the year.
It's a month.
At what point is enough? Like, they keep preaching patience, and I get it. Like, we want to be patient with such a young team, but even last year when they didn't have Wemby, they weren't this bad. They cannot play defense at all. I said right here on this podcast when they announced their starting lineup that there's nobody they can't defend. I was so wrong. There's nobody that they can defend. Mm-hmm. They are horrible defensively. They allowed 137 points to the Hawks last night. And the Hawks will put up a lot of points on anybody, so I get it. Yeah. But when you score 135, you should win a game.
Sure.
And you scored 135, and you lost still for your 13th in a row. It's abysmal, their defense.
Yeah, it is. And, they started off nice offensively. You like to see that. It's just rotation defense or something like that. I mean, it's tough to say, basketball is I'm going to say not my forte, but there's certain rotations sometimes where it's just kind of like, where's the help or something. Like even I can kind of see that a little bit, but you wonder too, is it a product of they're young guys and they feel like they can defend the whole floor and, I need to help out and everybody's crashing in. Well, of course, that leaves 2 or 3 guys open with wide open looks. That happened, I think, a couple times last night. It's, you're wondering when it's going to click and, I'm sure it's bound to. I mean, and to kind of keep it in perspective, yes, it is a historically bad start, however long it is since 1996. But, a little perspective too, this team lost, 16 games last year. So it's like we're
not there yet.
Yeah, we're getting close, but I mean, it's just kind of like
last year they didn't have the hope that they have now, though. That's
True.
the thing. Like, we all came into the season looking at the Vegas win total as 28.5 and being like, that's way too low.
Right.
What are we talking about? They can win 40 games. They're almost at 20 losses now, and they're 25 games into the season. Like, it's horrendous how badly they're playing. And meanwhile, Wemby offensively is playing well. His development seems to be going well. He's out tonight. They've already announced against the Pelicans, I think.
Mm-hmm. You can kind of see that one coming a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, second night of a back-to-back. He was already on the injury report yesterday. He ended up playing yesterday, played well.
Right.
But you could see that one coming a mile away, that he wasn't going to play tonight. But still, it's like he's leading, I think, in points per game, rebounds per game, blocks per game, steals per game as a rookie, among all rookies. But they're so bad.
Yeah, it's just and of course you can get that great performance and you know what you're going to get in Wemby, but of course it takes 4 other guys. So we'll just see what happens here. So
yeah, let's turn up Bob here.
So we got a question that came in from Bob Gambert. So I mean,
why are we not talking about the Browns?
Well, yes, but also like the obvious thing is this Pop's responsibility? And should people start talking about, do we need another coach?
I'll say no, because the same reason that I would say no about the Patriots and like why they should never get rid of Bill Belichick. If you win 5 championships, you can just be the coach for life, because that's more than anybody will win. Mm-hmm. That's more than anybody else has won in their tenure. So except for like Red Auerbach and other coaches like that. But still, it's like you've earned the lifetime contract, in my opinion. They could lose. They've lost 20 games or 60 games for the last 3 years in a row, and nobody's talking about. He got a new contract this year. He's not going anywhere until he wants to go somewhere. It does beg the question: when does the fans' patience run out? Because I think we all came into this season expecting better and expecting at least a modicum of improvement, and they seem to have cratered. So I think that's a problem.
Sure. I'm hearing it. Like I go out, maybe watch a Browns game or two. I
don't know why you would do that. Wait, what was the score this past weekend?
Oh, yeah. What? Damn. But like
Broncos 29-12.
Conversation when you start talking about the Browns, that's exactly what it turns to. Is it time?
Yeah, but you look at organizations like the Spurs, the Patriots, the ones with histories of winning, and not to disparage the Browns, there just isn't that history there. Or
the 50s.
I mean, back when my parents weren't born. But I mean, you look at teams like that, and it's like when you win 5 championships and you're the Spurs and you have this championship pedigree, the fans have a reasonable expectation that you're going to compete all the time. And when you don't, the patience runs out. But I think when you have Pop and you have that one common denominator of someone who was there for all the championships, knows how to do this, obviously has won at the highest level for 25, 30 years, you have to give them a little bit of leeway. I think the leeway is getting a little bit less now because you expect some sort of improvement.
Yeah,
but they have the rest of the season figured out.
They do, and Pop, I think still has plenty of rope on his leash.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
I think also too, it's the product of the NBA too. I mean, what do people do? It's like nobody's going down to the paint anymore. Everybody stops at the 3-point line, and it's jacking threes. We have Steph Curry to thank for that, I think, and so
thanks, Steph.
It comes around, and I think eventually it's going to take somebody. Maybe not Pop, maybe it's a veteran player or something like that. But who will that be to really kind of snap and chew some butt a little bit and get into people, dig into people, and say, hey, here's your role, and this is what you need to do, and this is the expectation. We're not putting up with it anymore.
I'm to that point though. I am a little unimpressed is not the right word, but I'm a little put off by how the players and everyone are in the media this year, because I'm a no participation trophy kind of guy. Mm-hmm. And every single game is, we're getting a little better. We only lost by 10 this time. We were really close in the fourth quarter. I don't care, dude. Sure. Like, just win the freaking game. Yeah. Win a game. Yeah. I hate when Pop comes to the mic. Yeah, I really liked their effort today. I really liked this that Wemby did. I knew we didn't really play great defense, but I loved this possession. It's like, I just want you to win a game.
Yeah.
That's all. That's how I feel about that. Bob, good on the questions and move on to next topic. Sweet. So let's get to the CFP playoffs. Who's in? Who's out? Let's just put our Nostradamus hats on, our rainmakers, our crystal balls, and we will tell you unequivocally who is going to be in and who's going to be out Sunday night. And when we're wrong, burn the tape.
Yeah, there we go.
So tonight is the first matchup. And we're just going to talk about the
last
the
Pac-12
key ones.
game.
I know, I'm really sad actually as an Arizona State fan. My sister went to USC. I'm a whole Pac-12 guy, and so I'm actually really upset that this is the last Pac-12 game, unless they announce that they're going to merge with the Mountain West, which they could. But anyway, first game tonight is Washington-Oregon. Oregon's a 9-point favorite, considerably. Washington beat Oregon this year by 3. Give me who wins tonight.
Ooh, man, this is pick 'em. I mean, toss-ups. Oregon's favored.
Oregon's favored by 9.
And it's
They're
tough. Yeah, that's
huge favorites.
That's big. I really think Michael Penix will. It's a battle of two Heisman contenders, Penix, Bo Nix, but I think Penix maybe does just enough to out edge Nix there in this game. So that would get Washington in and everything, and that. If he doesn't turn the ball over and throws for 5 touchdowns or something like that, I mean, give him the Heisman right now.
Yeah, I think the winner of tonight's game, if it's considerable,
between whoever wins this game,
wins the Heisman as well. Because I don't think, as much as I love Jaden Daniels, former Arizona State Sun Devil,
that's right.
I love Jaden. He's a really nice guy. He's a really good kid. He's not a Heisman Trophy winner. You can't win the Heisman when you're on a 3-loss team unless you're RG3 or Tim Tebow, which are the only other two to do it. So. I think that Oregon wins tonight. I think Bo Nix wins the Heisman, and I think Oregon makes it into the playoffs.
So we're split on that.
So our 4 at the end of this is going to be a little different.
Okay.
Alabama, Georgia. Actually, let's go to Texas first. Texas, Oklahoma State, because they play. Let's go chronologically. So Texas, Oklahoma State. I fully expect Texas to mop the floor with them tomorrow.
I think so too.
I think they win by 30.
Not having Xavier Worthy. I mean, I don't know what his status is. It didn't look good when he left that Tech game, but. Texas has lost some guys, but of course they've got plenty. I mean, C.J. Baxter, stepping in has been good. So I think Texas finishes the job. They leave the Big 12 with their 4th Big 12 championship trophy in hand. Doesn't come close to the guys who lead the pack in that conference, but we'll kind of move on from that. I think Texas does everything. They put it all together against Tech. They'll do it again against Oklahoma State because Oklahoma State, they're just that Jekyll and Hyde team. It's just you don't know which one's going to show up.
Yeah, you can't run the ball against Texas, and Oklahoma State loves to run the ball. And
they got Ollie Gordon.
And and I think that if Texas shuts down Ollie Gordon and that running game, that Oklahoma State's going to go into their own shell. They're, I think, 119th or 130th. I was looking at it earlier at EPA per play, which is basically efficiency per play. They're really bad through the air. And so if they can't get that run game going, they're completely screwed. And so I could see this being a lot to a little tomorrow. And Texas really needs it to be a lot to a little. To make their case as the 7th ranked team in the country, they need to make their case and win considerably tomorrow against Oklahoma State.
I hear you on that, yeah, and I just think Gundy somehow finds a way to keep it close, like he always does.
So you have a close game. I have a Texas blowout. So that's
we're both taking Texas,
but that could be a key difference because of the style points. So then you have Alabama, Georgia. Flip a coin.
Yeah, it really is.
Flip a coin. But this is where everything gets chaotic. Is Alabama and Georgia? They play at 2:00 our time. 3:00. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Anyways, it's tomorrow afternoon. That's the key to everybody. If Alabama wins that game, it opens the door, in my opinion, for
Texas.
It opens the door for them. It opens the door to take Georgia out, depending on the score. Opens the door for Texas, even though I think Texas has a chance no matter which one is in. And it opens the door for Florida State even to make it, even if they lose a close one to Louisville, I think. So I think that is that's the key. So who wins that game tomorrow and by how much? Georgia is favored by 5.5.
I think this is kind of the game where Saban, just pushes the right buttons. He's not the big rah-rah guy or anything, but I think he just gets his team ready because of that. It's like he's been so many. He's 10-1 in SEC championship games.
Is that good?
I mean, come on. So
Seems
and,
good.
and a little bit too. I think Georgia's won 29 straight, longest active winning streak in the country. I think that kind of comes to an end. So I think Saban gets the job done once again.
Close one?
It'll be close. So
Field goal, touchdown game, one possession?
probably somewhere in that range, 4 to 6 point game.
I'll put it, I think Georgia's going to win that game by a field goal,
Okay.
which would eliminate Alabama in my opinion. If you're a 2-loss team, you're not getting in.
No.
I think, real quickly, Florida State, Louisville. I think Louisville's going to win the game. They are coming off a loss last week to Kentucky. They have a really bad taste in their mouth. They want to win this game. Rodemaker for Florida State. He's played well. They did not play well against Florida last week. Florida almost beat them in that rivalry game, which would have eliminated them from the playoff. And Florida's not a good team. So I think Louisville gives them their best shot. I think Louisville wins that game against Florida State. And then real quickly, Iowa fans, sorry, you might not score in the game. Like they are so bad on offense. It looks like Matt Canada is on the team coaching offense.
That has
like,
the makings of like what, a 23-6 game or something like that, right?
So Michigan is favored by 22.5 points. The over/under is 35, which means that they think that the total or the score is going to be, they meaning Vegas, is going to be 29-6.
Yeah.
Or somewhere around there.
Yeah.
The over/under, the team total for Iowa is 6.5. Will they score a touchdown is basically what they're asking.
I think they'll score a late touchdown, a give-up touchdown there from the Wolverines.
They'll get the cover play.
Yeah, if we were playing the NCAA football game, this is one of those games where it's almost it's like, let's simulate it and let's move on to the next one because we kind of already know the result of that game.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just send to the end.
I've got Michigan. I'm going to take Florida State in the Florida State-Louisville matchup.
You and I are against each other in a lot of
Well,
ways.
I just think, everybody's kind of like, we don't want Florida State in because they don't have their quarterback. Well, it's like, well, are you going to really keep out an undefeated team? I think somehow Florida State finds a way. Mike Norvell gets it done.
Okay, let me ask you this. If Florida State wins close, in your scenario, you would have Washington win, you would have Bama win, you would have Michigan win, and you would have Texas win. Mm-hmm. So you would have Michigan would clearly make it.
Michigan's probably your one.
Washington would clearly make it.
Mm-hmm.
Does Florida State get in if they win?
Yes.
Okay, then who goes in, Alabama or Texas?
I would put in Alabama.
So you would leave Texas out. You would have Alabama jump Texas despite the head-to-head because of that win against Georgia, is how you think this is going to end.
Now I'm okay. Well,
see, because if Texas wins close,
this is what makes it fun, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if Texas wins close against Oklahoma State, like you said, you think that's what's going to happen. The spread is 16.5, but you think that it'll be closer than that.
If it's close like that, then I think
Alabama jumps them.
Well, maybe, and then you have a situation where it's like
what about Ohio State?
Georgia gets into. No, Ohio State's not making it. No matter what happens, I don't think Ohio State's making it unless there's like absolute chaos where all the lower ranked teams win.
Okay, so for you, Michigan is 1, Washington is 2.
Mm-hmm.
You have Florida State that would probably jump up to 3.
Mm-hmm. Who gets that 4th spot?
Who gets the 4th spot? Georgia, Bama, or Texas?
If it's close, Georgia. If it's
really, even though they lose.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. So your 4th spot, you would basically drop Georgia down to 4.
Yeah.
Florida State would be 3.
If it's close, like a last second field goal, that sort of thing.
I think they would put Georgia at 3, and they would probably put Florida State at 4, just so they could square up a Michigan-Georgia matchup.
I see that.
But yeah. But I see what you're saying. So you would think, okay, so his 4 officially are Michigan at 1 or 2. The seeding doesn't matter. Michigan, Florida State, Georgia, Washington.
I look forward to your letters.
So no movement. No movement in the top 4 at all. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's fun. I think since I have Georgia winning, Georgia stays number 1. Since I have Oregon winning, I put Oregon at number 2. I think Michigan will be number 2. Oregon will jump up to 3.
Mm-hmm.
Florida State's out because Louisville, I have beating them. Alabama's out. 6 is Ohio State. I don't think they make it. I think Texas jumps into the 4th spot. So it's going to be Georgia versus Texas and Michigan versus Oregon. That would be a hell of a playoff.
That'd be fun. I just can't wait till next year when we get 12.
I mean, me either. That's going to be so much fun. Bob.
Oh, we got a question. Oh, another question from Raul.
Raul, my man.
They mentioned on ESPN that Florida State doesn't belong because they would be competitive they wouldn't be competitive in the playoffs since they lost their QB. And you guys kind of discussed this a little bit, but do you agree?
I don't think Florida State should make it, and I think it's really crappy. Even if they win, I wouldn't put Florida in if I was on the CFP.
Because of their quarterback.
Because of their quarterback situation. Rodemaker is not good enough. He's not Jordan Travis, and Jordan Travis is the reason that they're undefeated.
Sure, but then you also, I mean,
You're setting a bad precedent.
yeah, but it's all about the best. It's the best 4 teams.
Exactly.
I mean,
and you're going to tell me Florida State's better than Georgia or Alabama
if
without their
if you have a
quarterback?
backup quarterback come in and win, that is a team win. That's not on one guy. It's not one player making it in crunch time or something like that. It's like you've got a team that makes it. Look at Texas. They're probably a more complete team because Quinn Ewers sit out for a couple of weeks. You had Malik Murphy come in, and he got you a couple wins. So that is a complete team than somebody that's like, hey, it's all on the shoulders of this guy, and if he goes down, well, so everybody hang on.
I have a small amount of inside knowledge on this, only because, and I think that's just my opinion. Florida State probably would make it if they win, but in my opinion, they shouldn't, because the CFP or the playoff committee is supposed to take them for their body of work and not for prognosticating or projecting forward. My professor, when I was at ASU, Paula Boyven, she was on the committee for the first couple of years, and she told me, at least, and told us that it is a body of work test. You look at everything when it's your body of work. You do not project forward at all. You can't. So even if it's going to be a crappy matchup, and that's what they'll all say, I think that even if it's a crappy matchup and Florida State's going to get trounced by Georgia, we've seen horrible matchups in the CFP before.
We've had blowouts.
Michigan State has gotten killed. Notre Dame has gotten killed.
Yep.
Like, you've seen really bad playoff games before. Even last year, wasn't it TCU beat up on Michigan pretty bad? Or the final last year was Georgia and TCU, and Georgia put up 70, like 65 or whatever. But I think that if Florida State wins, they are in. I just don't think they're going to win. What?
I don't even. Raul has one more comment.
What's up, Raul?
The man in the gray is the most intelligent man in the world regarding football.
My man.
What? LOL.
I agree. I mean,
you agree?
I agree. I think that's a really good comment.
We're closing comments.
I will borrow a phrase from Mike Greenberg. My genius won't be appreciated until long after my time, guys. Long after I'm gone, you guys will be like, Matt really knew what he was talking about. But on Monday, when all of the teams I just picked are wrong, Raul, join us back on Monday.
I just can't wait for this weekend and have fun. I mean, when all these games play out, and then let the pontificating begin, where it's like, no, this team should be in that team. This is what makes it fun.
Well, you and I are going to be going head to head tonight, because we're going to be sitting down there in sports. We're going to be cutting sports along. We're going to have the Washington and Oregon game on in the background, and we're going to and we're going to figure out exactly if one of us is right.
We're on opposite ends.
By the time we leave
one.
this building tonight. So, all right, Bob, any closing comments?
Nothing at all.
All right, sweet. Well, we appreciate everyone for joining us on the first live edition of the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. This was really fun. Hopefully we can do this every time, more often. We haven't really discussed it much, but we'll figure it out. That's all we got for you on this Friday edition of the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. Since you are joining us live, hit that like button, hit that share, hit that subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating. Give us some feedback. Raul, we appreciate you. You're the mega fan, and I need to get a Raul shirt now since you think I'm so smart. Remember to download, rate, review, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating. Tell a friend, tell an enemy. We'll be back on Monday to discuss all of the happenings from the weekend and to hopefully say that I'm really, really smart. Until then, have a good weekend. Everybody, we'll see you later.